That's funny.
It does not end how you think it's gonna end. Well, if it's just us, perhaps we could ask some questions of ourselves.
We could.
By all means.
So, first question. Why do you guys randomly giggle from time to time during streams?
Because we funny. And we like doing funny reactions to things.
I actually was rewatching one of our old streams yesterday because I was trying to get some information from it that I didn't have completely written down. And I was like watching it, and I didn't even get to the part that I needed to, but I was like watching it and I'm like, man, I'm freaking hilarious sometimes. Cause it was the episode uh when Oolah got her helmet and we were
It's like a
walking
mic
through
sound
and
volume
everybody
down.
was not everybody, but people were kinda, like, staring, and she's like, "Do you think it's because of my hat my helmet?" And everybody's like, "Absolutely."
I have never gone back and watched any. I just don't. I don't know. I think I'm too self conscious or something. I just don't. I just couldn't.
That was the first time I did, and I was doing it because I wanted the information, and I still never got the information I wanted. So I'd have to still continue to watch.
So I can't do it just because I can't stand the way I sound.
But we're all super funny. At least I think we're funny.
I think we're a pretty funny group.
I think I'm hilarious. Plus
Like,
the rest of you guys.
that episode was also when we talked about Dire Pippin.
Yes.
Alright, so you guys got any questions about anything? Game, whatnot? At least I know we missed yesterday, so we're gonna just do a little something today.
Okay, Joe, you can choose to pass on this. I'm not trying to like give away your secrets, but I'm always curious. When when we first met the White Witch, Evil Elsa, this was probably 3 sessions ago, or even four, when we worked into her room. Did you have planned then what ended up happening? I mean, with her being the ice worm.
Originally, no. So originally, I kind of had her in my head as just kind of like a magic user that kind of like how she is, where she likes to stay secluded from everybody. Um, and then, I had the idea for the kids and whatnot being there, basically being help, not necessarily slaves. Um, yeah, it wasn't actually until I was at work when I was at the woodpile by myself, splitting wood, that everything started clicking into my head.
I wondered if that's what it was. I remember you coming back that day and posting something about, oh yeah, now I know what's going to happen. And then, like in retrospect, I was like, okay, that's when you figured out that she was really an ice worm.
Yeah, well, originally I was thinking, okay, she'll be a dragon, but I'm like, no, you guys aren't quite ready for that. So I'm like, And then looking through the book and stuff like that, and on one of the websites that I use, saw the ice worm, and I was like, what is this? And I started looking over it, read it in the book, and I'm like, yes. Because they are very territorial. They like to, they're very control oriented, so they like to control everything. And like you guys have learned, that they do have it where when somebody new enters their territory, they look at them as either prey or what can I get out of them? What can I make them do for me?
Cool. It worked out well.
Definitely fit with how she originally met us and acted towards us.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, you guys didn't pose a threat to her, so it was pretty much, I need to kind of feel these guys out here. So that's why she had the dinner for you guys when dealt with all this stuff came back. It's like, okay, what can I expect from this group that's suddenly just popped into my chambers here? Are they gonna try to attack me when I come back? No? Okay, I might have some use for them. And the best part is, you guys have yet to figure out what that use is.
That's not ominous at all.
Not at all. All right. I'll play. How did everybody or no, okay, let's do this. What was your very first role-playing game that you played?
D&D. For me, it was D&D Red Box, original box set, beginner box. I got it for Christmas when I was 11 from my uncle, because he was a big gamer. I was staying at his house when my brother was living with him, and he had a book called Mech Warrior Second Edition. I was flipping through that. Told him I wanted to learn how to play that. So he's like, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. Christmas comes around, he gave me the AD&D box set. Said, hey, learn to play this. If you can play this, you can play anything. Being 11, I had no idea what THAC meant. So I couldn't, we didn't really figure that out. So I got some of my friends and said, screw it, we're just going to try to figure this out by ourselves. And here I am.
Who's going to go next?
I think we all should answer that question.
No, I agree. That's why I say who's going next.
I'll bite next. My very first pen and paper game. Right, that was the question, right? My very first pen and paper game was playing Vampire the Masquerade because I was trying to be impressive to a certain boy that I was trying to date, and he invited me over to his sister's house, and that's what they were playing, was Vampire the Masquerade. So just saying, 2 of the people here tonight were also there.
My honest first game was only like 2.5 years ago, playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I had only been playing the Lodestone up at the hill from me. That they have open game nights, and I'd only been playing maybe a month or month and a half when I met Joe. Then went over to Dreamer's Vault and met Joe. And like my cousin at one point when I was younger, it was more like a choose your own adventure that was also like role playing where you had hit points and stuff like that. And I remember having some of those books that we played, but nothing to the same level of actual Dungeons and Dragons. So
I originally tried D&D with Joe and the boys It was 3-5, and 3-5 sucks. So I was really not interested until he introduced me to Vampire the Masquerade. I played that and I got hooked.
As someone who's never played that, what could you tell me would be a big difference, or how does it play?
It's very much
It's a personal horror. So the best way to describe it is actually kind of how I described it to her, is instead of vampires just being, a big scary monster, blah, drink your blood, you play a vampire. Now they're set up in different clans, and depending on what, quote unquote faction you are. So like 3.3.5, or not 3.5, second or first edition, second edition, third edition. It was primarily had Camarilla, which was like generally what everybody would play. You had the Sabbat or the Sabbat, who were the darker side of it. And then you had the Anarchs and a couple of little independents. So the Masquerade is basically you play this vampire. You don't want to break the quote-unquote Masquerade, which is what the Kindred Society uses to protect themselves from humans. So basically, you can't show your fangs, you can't show your powers when there's normal people around.
You're a vampire pretending to be human.
Yeah. It's very much, it's a storytelling game. It's very much like I said, personal horror, but very social heavy, more political.
Very character driven, I would say.
Definitely.
It's since it's a personal horror game, it's you learning how, because usually in those type of games, you start out as you are fairly young vampire. You've been turned fairly recently, so you're still kind of you're still learning everything, and so you're learning to have to deal with how to be a vampire, how to deal with your vampire urges such as blood and whatnot, and also trying to navigate the hierarchy of the vampire scene, and all of that while trying to also, pretend that you're human. And not if you've just recently been turned in the last, few years or whatever, you most likely have human friends and family that you'll have to figure out how to deal with that, whether it's, fake your death and let them think you're dead, or just disappear, or something.
Cool. Sounds interesting. Sounds different.
Definitely. And like I think in the later ones, one of my favorite things is that like your flaws had a really big part in how the gameplay worked. So you really had to work in and around that flaw. And it just made it so much more fun because everyone had just a quirky character in that regard.
Yeah, one example is I was playing a Nosferatu, and he was a necrophile. Not a necrophiliac, which everyone knows what a necrophiliac is. A necrophile just likes the company of the dead. So he lived in a crypt, surrounded by basically the corpses in that crypt, and like he had them set up in different poses, like sitting around a table.
While he was still human, he did this.
No, this is after he was embraced, after he became a vampire. Because Nosferatu is think like Nosferatu, the classic silent movie. They're deformed. They tend to hide in the shadows more often than not, but they're really good sources of information because they hear and see everything. And yeah, he was fun. A lot of times they have an ability called obfuscate, which they can basically disappear if you have enough points. So anytime there's a gathering of vampires, he would show up with a corpse, but he would be obfuscated, but he would be walking this corpse around. He loved to torture Tremere, who are, they're referred to as the artsy-fartsy bastards of the Kindred Society, because they are very much about beauty and art and stuff like that. And so he would walk up to any of them and start having a conversation as a dead person, usually asking him for makeup. Stupid little things like that. It was fun.
Yeah, it was really funny. It was like my character didn't think it was funny, but it was hilarious.
Nikki, you mentioned the flaws, and I think that Jewel is the first character that I've played that really I've embraced that, where it's like she wants power and she's going to do what she wants. You know, like sometimes that's going to affect her, as opposed to you always see like in the D&D book, like, oh, choose one of these flaws, and I was always been like why, or I didn't understand, but now I feel like I finally played enough to realize that that's part of the fun.
Right. That's exactly why I gave Key the issues with doing magic. It just adds a dimension to your character that definitely drives some story.
In certain games, not D&D so much, Shadowrun has a version of it, and Vampire obviously has a version of it, but if you buy, you can buy flaws but also like merits. But if you buy more flaws, you can convert those extra points into other like skills or something, or you can balance it out with merits. But I've always kind of I've played both, where I've balanced it and where I've had more flaws um to get a few more points or whatever, which is always fun. I don't know, Oolah doesn't really have any flaws yet, except that, you know.
Yeah, that might be one of the only downsides so far to like this Genesis, is that there is no, I mean, that was one of the things I really hated about D&D too. It's like you could really break your character. There really was no thing to stop you from breaking your character. It's not as easy in Genesis, but at least with the games that make you take flaws, like it makes you have you can't build a god character. And that's one of the reasons I really enjoyed, Vampire the Masquerade, or oh god, what was that werewolf one that I can't remember the name
Werewolf
now?
the Apocalypse.
Yes, Werewolf the Apocalypse.
That's Joe's favorite.
Yeah.
I liked playing that game.
And it's a companion to Vampire. It's the same world,
Yeah.
same rule set and everything. You're just a werewolf instead of a vampire.
Which I'm still waiting. They do have the new version of Werewolf coming out. Or at least they're still working on it. They're also working on Wraith again. So the World of Darkness encompasses a lot of areas. They had, first edition, second edition, third edition. Fourth edition, nobody talks about. It was garbage. Just hot, steaming pile of shit.
That was Requiem, right?
Requiem. I don't remember what the Mages was, because nobody gave a nobody fucking cared. Werewolf the Apocalypse, they had it right, because they called it Werewolf the Forsaken. If you take the initials of all three, it's WTF, because it was literally, what the fuck did they do this game? And yeah, it was just garbage, flat out garbage. But now they're coming out with 5th edition, which we haven't played yet. We've read through it, and it's actually pretty freaking sweet the way they do the dice, because the hunger for vampires does have an effect on the game. When you spend blood, it has a big effect on the game. And Werewolf is going to have it with their rage. So I'm super excited about that. Wraith, have you ever seen the movie What Dreams May Come?
Yeah.
Perfect example of Wraith. Wraith is you're dead. Like literally you start off you're dead. And you are trying to essentially find a way to move on from Purgatory, the Shadowlands. The one really fun part about Wraith, and it made it a pain in the ass at times, is every character has what's called their shadow, which is basically that little self-doubt that just sits in the back of your mind. Just give up. Give into oblivion. You're not going to do it. You can't save her. Because every character that was a Wraith, there was something binding them. Be it, they were murdered, they want to get revenge, they know that a family member's in danger, they want to try to protect them, yada, yada, yada. The cool part about the Shadow is, if I was running it right now, I wouldn't control it. Each player controls one of the other player's shadows. So they could basically just screw with you at any time when you're trying to do something. Because there's always that voice in the back that wants, basically it's something within the maelstrom that wants to destroy everything, essentially. It's wants the spirits, instead of passing on to and completing whatever their task was, whatever they left unresolved, to just blink off into oblivion. And so that's basically what it keeps trying to do, is trying to get them to succumb to that.
I still think...
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm trying to picture that meeting where they pitched that, like, let's make a game, but you start out dead.
Dark Souls?
Well, I'm sure that meeting went great too.
I love the board game for it. Because they have a board game for Dark Souls. You open the box. Right up on top, a big black sheet that just says, you're dead.
Nice. I was going to say, I still think it'd be fun sometime, if we didn't do a full campaign, but to do some kind of limited whatever it was going to be, it'd be 4 or 5 sessions, but to make characters for each other. Like to just say, like, I'm going to make a character, like, whatever, draw a name out of a hat, and I'm going to make Joe's character. And like, I could basically, I don't want to say screw him over, but like put him out of his comfort zone and give him a character that he wouldn't normally play or have to play it a certain way. I think that could be really fun.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that
Tom,
didn't exist when I was messing around with James almost every single session night. I mean, I know I've told you the Great Bathtub Mystery, that kind of stuff, but like that pales into comparison to how much I've fucked with James's characters for years just because he made me mad.
Well, it was James, so.
Yeah, it's true. He'll admit it. He would admit it to your face that, like, yeah, I deserved it half the time.
Well, it's like the day we made him watch Darkness Rising. We weren't even through 3 minutes of Cass's dialogue, and he's like, no, that's not me. That's not me. Yes, it is James. That's you. Do it to you.
And everybody's like, yeah, it is. Any other question? Come on, people.
I got a good one.
Bueller.
Or mostly for Joe, but...
Uh-oh. All right, shoot.
Well, I guess I'm wondering, out of all of the sessions you've had with the 3 of us, what is the most surprising thing any one of us have done? And this could be any session ever.
That's gonna be a tough one. Oh, really quick before I forget. Nikki, you need to watch Man Shorts, and you need to watch the most recent episode.
M-A-N.
Never heard of it.
Where
Oh,
will I
hilarious.
find this? YouTube?
YouTube. MANN and then space shorts. They have, yeah, just watch it. Yeah,
They do
it'll click.
D&D, all kinds of editions.
Oh yeah,
It's super
they've
funny.
got Rapper Edition, they've got Florida Edition,
Alright.
they've got Military Edition,
Oh,
Holiday
Florida
Edition.
edition is the best.
The
90s edition.
Gangsta edition? No, that's 5 years ago.
Nope, the one that came out this past Sunday. It was Monk Edition.
Okay, I will watch that while you think of an answer to my question because I seriously want to know.
I feel like this is a tough question because I can't think of anything that was really shocking or surprising that our group has done.
Well, I meant like in the framework of
just all gaming in general.
well,
Like,
yeah, like
not-
he's being the DM and he expects us to do one thing and then we did something completely different from what he was expecting.
Well, for Amy, there's always the knock incident.
That was the best one.
So I think we've gone over that, but I can go over it again anyways, because why not? So we were playing Pathfinder, while we're basically trying to get away from 4E D&D. And she was at work, because she didn't get off till 8. So the rest of the group and I were, we were playing, and she would just hop in when she got home. They were fighting their way through a cave, found this door. They knocked on the door. Or they didn't knock on the door, they forced it open, a hand appeared, slammed the door. Okay. They tried again. Hand appears, slams the door. Paladin's like, alright, I'm gonna hold it open. You jump through. Okay. So they force the door open, he's holding it. Rogue goes rolling in, hand basically smacks him out, slams the door. Alright, let's set the kid in. Let's see if that happens, because they had found this kid there. So he was basically following him around. Basically push him in. Door's open. He stumbles in. Hand appears, turns him around, pats him on the butt. He goes out, just goes like this, and slams the door. 45 minutes they had been working on this. I'd asked them numerous times, do you want a hand? Nope, we're going to figure this out. And they're trying everything to figure it out. Hear the door open. And he comes in, what's going on? So they, they're relaying the whole situation. First thing out of her mouth, well, did you knock? They all just slowly looked over at me. Door opens, you see the hand just go like that. Like,
I wasn't part of that group, but to their credit, sometimes you do overthink some of the easiest things of we figure we would have done that anyway, or you don't even say it or whatever. But it is a really good story.
Well, to be fair, if I had been there, I'm sure I probably wouldn't have thought of that. But as somebody walking into that situation and just hearing it, my first question is, did you knock?
And that's literally what the whole point of it was, it was not really even a trap, it was like an obstacle. Is just because you're adventurers, you're on a mission, doing whatever, you don't have to be impolite.
The best part is for probably the next 2 months during sessions, every door we would knock on the door first.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
I'm trying to think of some other ones here.
Do I think of that adventure with the she wasn't a witch, what was she that stole the mayor's daughter? That there's Tom and me, and I came up with the other guys Andy or whatever his name was, and how we kept going back and forth, and we eventually brokered a peace with her as opposed to killing her. Like that was a surprising outcome.
Oh,
Right?
the hag. Yeah, you guys were all hell bent at first on killing the hag. Until you guys realized that no, the mayor basically made a deal and he was trying to renege on that deal and have you guys kill the hag. And you're like, wait a second. Okay, do we help her? Do we not help her? Do we help her? Do we not help her? Do we help her? Do we not help her? Yeah, I just kind of like enjoyed sitting back and watching that one going, well, where are they going with this? But no, yeah, and you guys did the right thing. I mean, that's. I like to throw moral quandaries, I guess, out there. Conundrums, thank you. You know, things it's like, okay, this may, you know, this from this information, this is what you see it as. But what are you going to do when you get the other half of that information? It's like, okay, are you going to stay on that path, or are you going to be like, oh crap, no, right now we're the bad guys. Okay. It's kind of like the, kind of the question of, okay, if an evil spirit is possessing a child, do you kill the child, or do you try to find a way to protect the child but get rid of the spirit? I mean, if you kill the kid, you'll kill the spirit, but then you're killing that kid. What do you do? Type of situation. Kind of like I don't think you were there for the first session, but I think I ran it for you too. The one kid that was being possessed, or not really possessed, but controlled by the spirit after he fell into an old hidden. Oh, okay. Yeah, I read that one. I know Tom was there for that. Basically, there was a spirit, or this kid had fallen into a hole, found this book, started kind of reading it, and it brought back a spirit that was bound to it. Well, the spirit gave the kid like a little necklace, which basically allowed him to kind of control him. Well, anytime this kid, and the kid was kind of like a street urchin type, his parents were both dead. He would just, some people around the city would give him food and whatnot. Well, he got angry at this one lady for throwing him out of the house because he was trying to steal food. Well, that night, they died. Like, that whole family was massacred. But the doors were locked, the windows were locked. No.
The old classic, how did the locked door killing?
Yeah. And basically what it was is with the necklace that the spirit had given him, unknowingly the kid was controlling shadows. So when he left, shadows went in because he said, you're gonna pay for this. They went in, murdered the family.
I'll be right back.
No. So it's like, okay, do you kill the kid? Because, these evil acts are happening around this. No. And that's kind of what it came down to, is once they found where he was, the spirit basically presented himself to them as they were trying to take the kid out. But that's Nikki. But yeah, they ended up figuring out that because they tried to attack the book, and that would actually damage the kid.
Yeah, how egalitarian do you want to try to be? Yeah, I think sometimes I think I said this before too. Sometime I think it'd be really fun if you sometime I have lots of time on my hand to play an aggressive campaign of D&D or something where you almost track like every hour of every day. Where like, you get like super serious into the traveling and what you'd actually spend your time doing and the survival aspect of it. Or you basically make it more of a survival game as opposed to more of your typical, well, 2 weeks passed and now you're in this village or whatever.
Right. That's what it actually used to be. Um, they would have like charts and stuff to do for everything.
See, maybe I need to find one of those old editions and try to find a game of it. I mean, I could see it becoming tedious quickly. You know, like I wouldn't. Again, it would be something I'd want to do for forever, but to do for a little while, try to chart some of that stuff out and really think about instead of just, oh, well, we set up camp and now someone's on guard. Well, do you realize how much time it takes to set up camp and to cook food and what you know? Joe's been in the army; he probably knows.
Yeah.
You read stories of people in the Civil War or the Revolutionary War or whatever, and you hope you could get 8 good hours of marching in a day because you had to get up, make your meal, break camp, which means taking down tents and packing things, whatever, traveling, getting somewhere, and setting that all back up again before dark.
Yep. Yeah, it's not easy. Well, I guess one thing that does kind of stick in my mind was actually from the Star Wars campaign. When you guys decided to track Ambi's owner and go after him after you guys had shot the shit out of his ship. And then when you got there was no hesitation, no remorse, just blow it up. Murder him.
There was no moral ambiguity on that one.
No.
Pretty bad dude. He was pretty mean to Ambi.
Yeah.
That whole story arc is one of my favorites, especially the way that I mean that one night when we weren't rolling criticals or whatever, what do you call it, but we were just rolling the snot out of the dice. We just couldn't miss.
Yeah. Well, like when Payne said she wanted to have a debt that was owed, but she was also wanted to be in servitude. I'm like, shit, how the hell am I going to do that? And say, okay. And then she kind of came up, well, I had some drugs from, my owner, and I lost it. It's like, okay, that helps. That helps me a lot. And I'm still trying to think, like, what the hell can I do that could really, amp people up to really hate this guy, but not really be able to do much about it? And say, okay, well, what if he's not, like, a head of a cartel, but, higher up ranking? I'm like, oh, I just gotta make him one of those people that you love to hate. And that's the whole thing behind him was that's what I was trying to go for with him, is the fact that everybody despised him, but for the most part they knew they couldn't do anything about it until they had a better opportunity, I guess would be a good word for it, to try to strike at him. That's why, a lot of times when you guys would talk to different people, it's like, yeah, you just don't do it. That's not a good idea. Because that's kind of what I was driving for, is that whole, he's a pretty big guy that wields a decent amount of power. He can basically get away with just about anything.
I like those situations in games, though. Again, I think I've reiterated, not even 10 minutes ago, how much I hate God campaigns where it's like you can steamroll whatever you want. I like when there's things that forces your character to be like, I can't right now. I want to, but I can't.
Yeah. Well, and that's what you get in a lot of games where, it doesn't matter what game it is, you get a lot of people that get in that mindset of, well, this is going to be a fight to the death if we can't win. You can always fall back. You can always retreat. There's nothing that says you can't. Just say, you know what? This dude is way too bad for us. We need to get out of here. It's not like you're, they're going to chase you down, because it's like, yeah, you guys are peons to me. You're not doing anything. But there's so much of just that all or nothing mentality that's how it always sticks with most people when they're gaming. It's like, yeah, it's, fantasy or sci-fi or whatever you're playing. It's like, but you can still throw that mindset of, okay, my character is getting jacked up here. We need to get out of here. Otherwise, we're dead. It's like a lot of times I
agree.
Oh, good.
I was gonna say, I agree. Like when I played Adventure League with the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, it's pretty much set up to be that way, where you pretty much steamroll everything, and there's some enjoyment in that, especially because you level really fast. Like to get your characters going quickly. But so then you still end up only using the same 4 spells every. Like I feel like there's no challenge then in using anything other than destruction magic, and max, basically going for max character development, or min maxing on your melee skills too. It's like, well, I don't know. There's a limited return on that for me.
Yeah. Well, like the Pyrohound fight, for instance. He damn near wrecked a good portion of you guys. And then when you guys started just wailing on him, I need to get out of here. And that's why I started running. Because not every creature is going to have that all or nothing. So it tried to run.
Yeah. I like when you've done that before too, Jokes. I was thinking about the when my Star Wars character got burned so badly, and that guy got away too, even though he desperately didn't want him to, want to stand there and fight to the finish. Well, no, people are going to run away when they're hurt. Why wouldn't they?
Yep. Yeah, you guys took his arm.
Only us stupid heroes fight to the death.
He who lives and runs away lives to fight another day.
True.
The most noble of pirate traditions. We fight to run away. But yeah, I'd say the Star Wars one was one that really sticks out for me. And previous Star Wars ones, there's always the orphanage. All that and the was it force pushing a guy through a wall into paste?
Yeah, that one was pretty bad too.
I want to force push him into the wall, hopefully knock him out. Okay, roll. Natural 20. Right, he goes through the wall, the next wall, and he's paste. I didn't want to kill him. Whoops.
There was so much hilarity in that campaign. It was ridiculous.
Does anybody have a favorite character that they've ever played? I don't know, John hasn't had a ton of characters, but out of the ones you've had, do you have a favorite yet?
Bitch, it's gonna be Luz.
The next one's, I think, always going to be my favorite. The next one I play. I played in totally another campaign. I played a monk and based him on oh my gosh, Game of Thrones, the Southern Kingdom. There's that the guy that, well, I'm so bad at this. Like the prince from the Prince of Dorne who fights, and he's
Oh,
the
Viper?
yeah, and he's just like he's bisexual and just like totally open about it. And I played him totally that way, where it just was like, yep, he's good. It was a halfling monk of all things, and I had a lot of fun. The DM really played into it. That group got PG-13 at least at times, so it was kind of fun to like do that or whatever. But I kind of liked it. Other people at the table were slightly uncomfortable with the fact that he was bi, and I was totally fine playing that. So
That is such a good question.
I've lived thousands of lives. It's hard to pick just one.
If it's easier, you could go by game.
You know, from the I would actually break it into before you guys moved and then after you guys moved.
That
But
works.
are like, I don't know. I really enjoyed playing that Star Wars campaign. Like my character from that. Like cuz we went from being complete novices to being like morally gray to the epic showdown between me and Tim's character where I finally like ended it by severing force on him, like severing him from the force. Like I think
Yep.
it was just the culmination of like all of the pent up anger I've had against Tim for like all those years. It just felt so good to do.
And you both were in cages at that time too when you did it.
I think I natural 20'd, or I rolled like the roll to get what I needed. But then not playing with you guys, because I don't think I played. Maybe Joe, you were part of that campaign, but the Black Fury I played for.
Yeah, I was there. I played
Yeah,
the Fianna, the Urge.
that's right. That's right. I
Actually
really
played some other guys with
enjoyed
those.
playing that Black Fury.
Yep, because
It's
that's
like
when
I was playing myself.
yeah, because there's the one day I brought stew, and I got a bowl. The entire pot
Yeah,
that was at the top, I got a bowl.
that's right. I remember now. I don't know. And then I honestly have been having a really fun time playing Key.
hello,
You got a
Kitty.
Mackie.
He's a Mackie.
He wants lovin's, so it's just easier to do it this way. He'll eventually just lay his head on my arm and pass out. Let's see. For me, so for D&D it would have been from 4th Ed, which would have been Lone Climber. Illikin Lone Climber Thunakalaga. That was his name. He was a Goliath Warden. Storm Warden. That I loved him. He was great.
He had a dragon.
He did. He had Basalt. I actually have the mini up top. Well, it was Basalt at first, and Basalt actually died protecting him, I think, from a couple giants. During a huge battle. And they brought the body back to his mate. And he was a big black dragon. And basically asked his mate for permission to use his hide to make armor. And she agreed because it was, since he dying protected me, she felt he would want to continue to protect me. So she allowed me to make armor out of his hide. And then one of their children, basically one of the eggs, when he's old enough, became my mount. He wanted to keep the family tradition. So he looked after Lone Climber. For me, BattleTech.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's a pretty good arc.
Yeah. BattleTech would probably be Kyle Reese. Actually, nah, Jason Lee. It's kind of a toss-up because Jason is my first character. Reese was the first one when I was playing with my buddy Jeremy. And then he's always had I've always got a soft spot in my heart for him. And the Wolverine. God, that's a great mech. Werewolf? God, I don't know. Any of my Therages. Basically the Fianna or a tribe as a whole. That's primarily what I play. That or Striders. Silent Striders are awesome. Vampire? I liked Lance. Lance was fun. Oh, character Witch. He was great. I don't know. Never really got to play Star Wars.
Who who was your Asimite character?
Oh, that was Thane.
No.
Yeah, that was his last name.
I liked him. And Lance, of course. Lance was good.
Lance the Gangrel. Drove a little pimped out Pinto.
Vampire for me would be my classic Nick. She was like one of the first characters that I made by myself because Joe helped me with my first couple. And she's my baby. D&D, probably Alessa, my warlock for 5e. I really like her. She's chaotic good. So she really kind of embraces that whole I'm doing the right thing even if I have to kill everybody to do it type of mindset, you know. I did almost kill someone one time to try to save other people and got myself thrown in jail for that. And yeah. So that was fun. And she's just always been fun. Uh
She's really angry at the party once.
I did. I got so angry.
I'll be RB. I've got a little boy giving me the look.
Okay.
Well, we can do a little break here.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Say a little Mackie here that's wanting some attention. So yeah, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Him and Joe got along really, really good too. Play video games.
Is there anyone Joe doesn't get along with?
Oh yeah.
Brian post 21.
Or I suppose there are people. I'm just saying, Joe's easygoing, and he seems like he gets along with a lot of people. It's a compliment.
Now I'm trying to think though. I don't think Brian counts. Brian kind of did a whole 180. He doesn't even get along with me very well anymore. Well, now he's fine, but for a while there he wasn't.
He went like batshit for a while there. Like, even I didn't get along with him, and I was dating him. But we get along now. Just took 10 years.
So here, when you guys were talking about Greg, here's the funny thing. About maybe, I'll say 6 months ago, Greg was over at his mom's, and because she had found a box of BattleTech stuff or something that was over at her house. So he went over to get it, and somehow I got brought up in the conversation. And she's like, wait, this is what you guys were doing over at his house? Yeah. So you guys were playing games? Yeah, like I told you. So you weren't doing drugs and all that stuff? No, we were playing BattleTech or other games. Huh. Yeah, she swore up and down that we were doing drugs and drinking and all that stuff over there. Like, no, we were playing BattleTech most of the time.
The only thing I ever did that was illicit at your house was smoke cigarettes. Seriously.
Yeah.
And that was like when when I was in high school, when Brian and all them were living in the same housing complex. Like, I drank under 21, but that's because my boyfriend and all of his friends were over 21 and bought me booze.
Yeah. We kind of cut down on the cocaine because it started getting really amped up on the BattleTech.
There was like no need for cocaine. Everyone was so hyped for that shit just on Mountain Dew. This is insane.
True.
Yeah, it was fun. How's it going, Ryan?
Hey, Ryan. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes, please can we answer questions?
I feel like it's dangerous to ask Ryan for questions. Like, you're really setting yourself up here.
Yeah.
I know. But at the same time, I'm weirdly wanting to know what he would ask.
He's thinking. So you guys have any questions about the game so far?
So many.
Well, ask away and I'll answer what I can.
See, but that's the problem. Has there been anything so far that we have blatantly missed? Like, right in front of our face, we should have seen it and we haven't. You don't have to tell us what it is, but I just want to know, has there been something that we have been completely oblivious to?
We already overthink that stuff too much. If he says yes, we're only going to overthink stuff more. Nikki, don't do this.
So
I already asked the question. How do I take it back?
Too late.
Quick, cancel.
No, so far you guys haven't really missed anything, really.
Did you expect us to follow the dreams right away? I mean, like, because like we had the dreams and all of a sudden we're like, "Yep, this is it. We're gonna go do this." And was that kind of like not what you had planned?
No. So,
I mean, I got that impression when you basically told us to go home.
so no, it was just something to kind of throw out there as something that you guys would discuss, talk about, and just be like, okay, we'll see what happens, type of thing. It wasn't anything that was like, this is for sure set in stone until obviously Danelle decided to ask, is this going to happen? Yes. I mean, there's a lot of things you guys didn't see. So there should still hopefully be some surprise. Ryan says he hates that because, Joe will say, not that I can tell you, just for spite. It's true. But no, it was just kind of a random thing to happen. And then, so when you guys were all, let's go over here now. And it's like, no, okay. It's like, okay, let's try to get you somewhere else first.
So what you're saying is basically it's like when you play a video game and you follow all the side quests first and then you go back to the main quest and you're way over leveled for it. But you need to do it so that you can progress the game. I'm not saying any games in particular, Morrowind.
Hey, I still have the best one. I couldn't kill anybody. So, one of the things when I played is I would go and kill slave owners. Well, apparently I killed too many important NPCs to continue any sort of story in the game. So if I literally wandered off and killed just a random person, message would pop up. You have killed too many important NPCs. Restart the game.
I have never ever seen that in my life except for that time.
Murder hobo.
That's the very definition of murder hobo. Yeah. Well, of course, and I think I told you guys about the time. I know Nikki knows about the time when Brian tried to free the slaves on Morrowind. And he killed like every single person in like the starting village. And he was going to bring the slaves there so that they could be free and have a place to live. And he gets back there with the slaves, and there's all these guards there, and they killed the slaves. He was so mad.
That's some amazing story writing on their part.
He gets really animated when he tells that story. I can still picture him with like the cigarette in his hand and just being like, those motherfucking guards. Is the zombie dude really pissed that we got rid of his coin?
Does he even know though?
Has he even noticed? Is that something we can know out of game?
But the guy that destroyed him, Ammon or whatever his name is, that old weird wizard guy, he told them to stop spying before he put it in the drink. So he
True.
totally knows.
Well, he'll just have to wait and see. We still haven't told anyone of his existence.
Unless he does something to piss us off. I mean, he's pretty far away, so I don't think that's going to be a problem, but
Who knows? We've been teleported before.
swear to God, if we end up back in that cave, Oolah's just going to go, she's just going to kill everybody. I am using my latest ability point to buy frequency again so that I can activate that ability 3 times in one encounter or in one session. So I can be invulnerable. I kill all of them. She'll be like, "Hold on, guys. I got this."
No, I was thinking about turning it in before too long, getting sleepy. But this was a really good idea.
I'm sorry. My dad just texted me. Have you seen the Ron Reagan Freedom from Religion commercial? And he follows it up with, I'm Ron Reagan, lifelong atheist, and not afraid to burn in hell. So now I have to look this up.
Is this like a superior thing, or is this like what is this?
I don't know. When I find it, I'll pass it along. One moment. I'm like incredible that my dad sent this to me, so I need to look at it.
If you're an atheist and you say you're not afraid to burn in hell, though, isn't that like self-contradictory? Because you
Yeah.
wouldn't believe in hell.
I think I found it. I'm going to link it. It wasn't as provocative as I thought.
All right, I got a question for you guys.
Oh, okay.
What has been your favorite moment from this game so far? Actually, I guess it'd be a two-parter after this. I'll do the second question after that.
Mine is when Oolah totally killed 9 out of 10 guards all by herself trying to get into the jail. And I was really, really sad. I mean, I'm glad that Jewel got to get the last one, but I was really sad that I didn't get all of them. But that was that was one of my favorites, that I got to kill like 9 of them.
Everything with that underground adventure was pretty fun. Like just the whole us falling down in there, and then Jewel listening to the voice, and getting us in trouble, and then everything with the city and getting that was such a creepy night with those things that were going on. Like that was a really fun one. But I mean, it's always fun. I mean, like in a similar vein to Oolah, when the hell dog or yeah, whatever it was, but it's like running away and Jewel blasts it and kills it. Like that's always a fun thing to have happen too at the last thing. So
And Fallout House. Oh, my other favorite part that it does not actually involve my character is when
Nope, that's Nikki again. Nope, she come back.
my favorite part was when Garn scared the crap out of Danil on Halloween.
I should go back and find that and watch. That would be something that'd be worth watching just to see Tom's reaction.
If you go actually on the Twitch channel, I made it a clip.
Yeah, it's just a short clip.
Oh man. I honestly think my favorite moment, and there's so many, but like the absolute favorite was when Garn just kind of walked up to that very first beastie we killed and grabbed the bones and was just like, this is mine now. I think it was that moment that I was going to be like, I will fight for this little goblin.
Yeah, when he went up, yeah, that was when you guys had killed the giant spider and the basically like goblin alchemist slash mage shaman-y dude. Because yeah, he ended up taking grab that armor. He's like, yeah, this is mine. So I think Jewel took the staff, which is the bone staff. And then there's also the book, which I think Key has, or did Key ever give that over to Jewel?
I think he gave that over to Jewel, with the caveat that if you fuck with this like in a bad way, I will end you. And then I'm pretty sure Oolah took his skull. No?
No, my skull helmet is from the Rippers.
Oh, that's right.
The guys that were attacking Jorlak. I took the biggest guy's head and I made a fucking helmet out of it. And I made Jorlak my buddy. Also, he's going to be a dire wolf soon.
Same thing, just keep growing.
Pretty soon he's going to be as big as the dragon dog, the pyre hound.
Alright, so what NPCs that you guys have come across have you either loved or hated?
That's tough, Joe, because you're really good at the NPCs. Like they're always rich and original and well-rounded.
I will say that based on my past experiences, I thought I would hate Garnd this time around. But I actually really like that little goblin now, so
I do like that you pull certain NPCs across games.
Yeah, if I like them, I'll try to keep them around. Kind of like the shopkeeper. That started
Right, like the
Pathfinder.
shopkeeper is always going to be a favorite. And like, I really enjoyed sparring with the ice worm.
Yeah, I like the old man that told us that we shouldn't come to the city yet. I can't remember his name. I think that was it's a good character.
isn't that Ammon? The guy that destroyed the coins, right?
Yeah.
I wrote his name down as Ammon.
I can tell you, you'll probably see more of him.
I hope
That's
so.
all I'll
He
say.
gave us a thing that said when we were when we should get in contact with him.
Yeah, I got some plans for him. It'll be fun, I promise. Well, I'm gonna try to make it fun. But yeah, so like with Garnd, I got a sheet for him and all that. I play him off just in the background because I don't want it to kind of turn into like a GM PC. He's there literally just for shits and giggles. Do little minor things, watch your guys' camp while you guys go and do whatever. If it comes to a big fight, he can help. If things are kind of looking bad, he can, try to help. But otherwise, yeah, he's just pretty much going to be there. He might pipe in every now and then, do something goofy. It's like one of my favorite parts so far was when he went and stole everything from the stores and was carrying the trunk. But he had the rag and he had it doused. Nobody would smell it, and Danielle tossed it back onto the chest, which slid under his nose.
Knocked himself out. That was so funny.
I forgot about that.
So yeah, he chloroformed himself, which, yeah, that was just funny because I, didn't have it planned. It was just kind of okay, this is what he's doing. But then I was thinking as, Tom said, I throw it back, just going to toss it on top of the trunk. It's like, well, he's a little guy that's carrying this big trunk. His face is like right here. Yeah, that rag is going to go boom. I can see my head is just gobbling, just deep.
One of the NPCs that I hated, but like in the way that you hate the bad guy wrestlers hated, is the Inquisitor. I am glad that Danil killed her. I am sad that I did not get to.
That was pretty badass of Danilo. I don't believe you.
I do have to say that I did like the one when Key was arguing with the Inquisitor's guard.
Over the vampire.
Yep.
I liked that the guard saluted her with the arm.
It was just the whole, evil doesn't do it, evil acts don't take down evil. Well, it seems to work. So now there's a couple times that, I don't know, maybe it's just how I saw it, but the look on Nikki's face was kind of like a, fuck, point to you, okay.
Yeah, but I rallied.
Yeah.
He gained his respect.
But no, that's kind of just one that I like.
No, see, like, I love those moments though. Like, don't get me wrong. I freaking love those moments because yes, my face might be saying, ah shit, point to Joe. Like, he's got a point there. But it really forces you to dig deep into your character and like, okay, not what I would say, but what would my character say in this situation?
Yep.
And
And that's what I'm trying to draw out of all of you guys is not so much, what does Nikki think? It's how is Key gonna respond to this? Because she's known pain the majority of her life. And so a lot of the stuff that they're doing is evil. I mean, flat out evil because, she's suffered through it. Well, it worked. So it's like, how is she going to respond to the fact that, okay, that's a valid point you're making here, but no. Because, like you said, it makes you dig down into, not you, but your character. Because to me, if you can start doing that, it's going to happen more and more and more. That it's going to be so easy to slip into that. So when situations come up, you should be like, nope, I already got this. Because if I can get situations like that for everybody throughout the game, I don't think you guys will overthink stuff, because you'll start to slip into it so fast of, well, this is what I know. This is how she feels, or this is how he feels. This is how they're going to respond. That you almost have it kind of almost played out in your head. Yeah. It becomes more of an instinct than, all right, how do we want to do this? Say, okay, what's the first reaction you're going to have?
That's why I think sometimes it's so hard to connect with a character. Like, you're like, okay, I made a blah blah blah, but then you don't really know anything about that character. Like, I did that with my cleric when I made a cleric, and I was just not feeling it. I couldn't really get into her head. But then I made the rogue, and I loved my rogue, by the way. And I could get into her head. Oolah is like she's nothing like I normally play. I normally play a jewel. I never play a up in your face, kill them all character. And sure, Oolah's got a little bit of magic, but as you've seen, she doesn't use it a whole lot, just sometimes. But yeah, she's completely different than what I normally play.
So far, the way I've seen the characters kind of grow is you can see Jewel learning what she can do and knowing that she's growing in power, but she knows how to control it for the most part. So she's not letting it overtake her, which I really enjoy.
She's trying to listen and respect to her friends, which is new to her, or newer. She always hasn't trusted people. So not in the same way that Keelah hasn't trusted people, but there's still a level of that there.
Yeah.
I thought one of the great moments for Jewel was when she trusted everybody to tell about the blood magic.
Yeah, actually, that would probably be. Yeah, that would be the one that honestly surprised me with Jewel. Because there's a lot of times, like, through DM and stuff, through text, John and I'd be talking, okay, well, I want to do this, and I'm going to use, the blood magic for it. I'm like, all right. And we just kind of keep track of it that way. And when she actually came out and said, look, I've been doing this, I've been practicing this, I was like, holy shit. Okay, that cat's out of that bag. Damn.
It is nice, though, the way that our characters have been given the ability in this game to grow together in that way and role play that stuff out. It is nice. And I like the way that Genesis allows for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'd say just another big moment was when Key told everybody about her past.
Yeah.
Yeah, she progressed in that arc faster than I expected her to, but the roles it's just the way it went, right? She did the work on it, so like it just made sense.
Yeah, Joe, you posted something in there about like feeling pressure to try to have us all have moments, and I feel like the best moments is when they kind of come. I mean, they just happen, and this is the way it rolls out. Like I don't know. I don't think you should put too much pressure on that kind of character development.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's
it just happened.
It's also on us.
Oh, go ahead.
I say it's also on us to kind of develop that out too. That's not necessarily on you. Is all I was going to say.
Right, and all I was saying, like, the reason Key had those moments is because it just naturally happened that way. Like, it just suited her character at the time. So there will be moments where it'll suit the other characters too. They just have to step up to it.
Yeah. Well, a big part is just I want to make sure that everybody gets spotlight. So it's not just we're only focusing on this character. Everybody else is just supporting cast. I want to make sure everybody gets equal screen time basically. So that's like what I want to do, like pretty much what I want to do, like eventually bring in like background stuff, or not necessarily background, but at least character stories, like little arcs for everybody. Because in that way, maybe some more stuff that people don't know about somebody's past is gonna come up. Stuff like that. Because yeah, like I said,
I do have to admit, it is pretty nice that you like essentially forced us to have backstories in order to do those original sessions where you did with each one of us individually. That was pretty cool.
Never did Amy's.
Oolah has no backstory.
She
She just appeared that day. She just appeared to become Key's bodyguard.
The spirits dropped her on this plane for one purpose.
I was just thinking about it, that Oolah's backstory is that she's a stone dweller orc, so that means that they live in cities. But I kind of picture her tribe as being pretty small and still kind of on the outs of the city that they live in. Like they live in the city, but they're still kind of,
They're the suburb.
yeah, they're the suburb. They're segregated from the rest, but it's not racist. Okay, it might be a little bit.
Oh, it really depends on where she comes from. If you look at the map, I've got the Orc lands, which is its own country without it actually being its own country. It's controlled by somebody else, but they're just like, you know what, fucking give it to them. They can take care of it.
We're not going to mess with the orcs.
You
You go tell them that this isn't their land.
they can just act as a buffer between us and everybody else. Just let them do their own thing. If they cause problems, then we'll deal with them. But otherwise, yeah, leave them alone. But there are still a lot of tribes that are still nomadic too, so they'll still wander the plains. All right. Is there anything you guys want to see in game?
I generally like where the road's taking us.
I want to see a dragon. Also, dire wolf, aka dire Jorlak, which should be next session. Dire Jorlaks could be awesome, guys. The tavern people are not gonna like when I try to bring Jorlak in.
He probably won't be allowed in. He'd be too big.
You tell that to Oolah and Jorlak that he's not allowed in.
He can go sleep in a stable. It's fine.
She can like open the second story window and he can jump up and in and then crawl in her bed.
And leave a big hole in the wall where the window was.
Pretty much. Goes to shake off, douses the entire place.
They'll never know he was there. He'll jump out before the sun comes up.
Has a bad dream, starts running. Just tears the walls art all the way out.
You're gonna have to find like a travel, I don't know, giant wolf tent. Instead of a pup tent, he needs a dire wolf tent.
Covered wagon is his. He still sticks out both ends.
I kind of pictured dire Jorlak as like Clifford.
Well, it won't be that big. He would not be allowed near any city. Actually, he'd probably get hunted.
Oolah will fight off anybody that tries to hunt Jorlak. And she will kill them and she will have no regrets.
Oolah's a dog mom through and through.
She is. You do not hurt Jorlak. He's a good boy.
He's a very good boy. All right, I think I'm going to turn in though. So good
Yeah,
chatting. See you guys on Monday.
See you guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, good night, guys.
Fun chatting with you all.